Hello, hello. This is one of the Lego Monkey Kid sets. It's the Demon Bull King. It is pretty massive. It comes with over 1,000 pieces. It has an action feature that's duplicated once. It has articulation, it has an electronic feature in it, and it has some very important figures for this theme. So let's check it out. The Demon Bull King is a big bad guy, or a big bad guy thing. It remains to be seen in the Monkey Kid official animated series just how they're going to represent this in universe for this particular adaptation of the Journey to the West ancient stories. Just from the build, just from looking at the decorations and how this is put together and the specific elements that they use here, it appears that they're going for a bit of a combination between supernatural / organic and synthetic or built. It does appear like there are some elements of this that are clearly constructed, either man-made or just made by some sort of physical entities. But there's also definitely an element of life of some sort. It could be synthetic life or it could be supernatural, but it definitely seems like there's a combination there. This thing is large, it is tall and wide both, and it's very stable, and the build was interesting to me. It uses some techniques that I haven't seen in a while. The feet are absolutely massive, which really contributes to stability. Also, there's not a lot of ankle articulation available. I'll show you all the articulation that this entire model has just together right now. I just want to show you some of the details a little bit better since we've seen the whole thing. The center is one of the more interesting parts of this because that has a light brick that is integrated into it. You can access that. There's just a button around the back, so it's a momentary thing. As long as you have it pushed in, it'll stay on, and then as soon as you let go, it will just spring off. But they really cause that chest to glow. So whether that's supernatural energy or some sort of reactor that's inside of there, they did a good job of bringing that glow in there. And it's not just a simple thing of having a light behind a windscreen. There's an additional piece behind there that was well chosen. I think that all works together to bring some extra life, whether synthetic or organic or supernatural, to this thing. The head actually does not like to stand up or to stay up on its own. It will, but only just barely. There's just barely enough friction, and there it wants to fall back down. So obviously, the bullhead, think of like possibly a cybernetic minotaur is kind of the idea. These are, I believe, recently new pieces added to the Lego part inventory. These horn pieces here, they have Technic pin holes inside of them, so a Technic pin actually goes into that. The eyes are printed. There are two of them, one on either side, so they are not identical. They're mirrored, so that's nice to see, kind of like they've done for Ninjago dragons in recent times, but in this case using two pieces rather than one. The mouth is able to open and close, and there's just a little bit of detail in there. It looks like he's probably full of heat because you see some of the trans orange elements that are inside of there. Also, a lot of people will recognize Metalbeard's beard right here from the original Lego movie. We also have a couple of those used on each foot to represent the hooves of this. Have more of those fire elements back behind. The things on the back here are launchers, and let me just rotate that around so you can see more of the details. This does have quite a number of stickers, and they're all clear backed, and I don't like that because especially when you start to try to attach clear backed stickers to transparent elements that don't really show you their edges that well, it just gets tricky. But yeah, basically this is a trans neon reddish orange half cylinder here, and there's a plunger inside, so you can just push this right here in and it'll just pop out whatever the contents are inside of there. They suggest that you put some studs in there. They actually give you a whole small handful of trans neon reddish orange colored studs to use as random projectiles. This is another one of those windshield pieces, same one that's used on the outside of the rib cage for the chest. And looking out towards, this is basically a flamethrower element right here, or a flamethrower assembly. That fortunately is not a sticker, so there are a few of those on there, and that's just a print. But most of the decorations that you're going to see on this entire thing are indeed done with stickers, clear backed stickers. So just doubled up ball joint right there. Again, I'll show you more of the articulation. This thing just spins, doesn't really do anything, but it's just kind of loose there. This is actually a new version or a new coloration, sorry about that, for this flame piece. It's an existing flame mold piece, but here they've gone between the trans neon reddish orange and trans dark brown, or what we often call trans black. So it just kind of fades away as you get from the fire part. It's an interesting technique, a different way to do it that feels a little bit darker and feels like it's kind of fading into smoke, you know, instead of brightening and instead of looking extra toyish. The other hand has an axe-headed long weapon, so something like a halberd here. It also has elements of flame and heat coming off of it. One single sticker used there. The base of this, the root of it, the main handle, if you will, is an upside down large Lego ship mast piece, which mostly has no decoration on it. This arm, the left arm, has fingers, so these will actually articulate. Just 2 of them, and then a thumb, and then to hold the weapon into place, they just have a Technic pin that sticks out, and then a Technic axle or axle pin to help locate it so it won't pop off, and it also won't rotate in that hand. Once again, at the elbow, double joint right there with just traditional ball and socket joints. And let's go ahead and take a look at that articulation now. So each arm is able to rotate up and down pretty freely. There's a lot of friction in there, but this joint works very well for rotation. You can also splay the shoulders in and out, so it comes out only that much, goes in just that much, but it's useful. You combine those together, bring the elbow down, bring that out straight, and then you can also bring it across the chest a bit, you know, maybe about halfway, and also bring it out like that. So you get some useful stuff there from relatively stiff joints. You know, it's not like they have ball joints or anything or multi-axis joints. It's multiple different joints that are just connected together. The elbow is able to go to 90 degrees like that, or very, very close, and it's also able to just go to full extension so it doesn't hyperextend, which is perfectly fine. Same thing goes on with this arm over here, even though it doesn't have a hand on it. And you already saw that this can just spin up a little bit, so nothing else is different there. And then for the legs are able to splay in and out, so you can get this nice and straight. I think that's about, is that the spot? No, there we go. That's a little bit better. A little bit better. I feel like something's still off, but yeah, you can get those straight, and then you can splay them out to give it more stability. And additionally, you also have the ability, just a couple of studs coming out from one of the lava launchers up here, but you have the ability to move at the hip forward and back quite a lot. But this has no knees. Again, just little studs coming out from up here. Let me just angle that back a little bit so that'll stop happening. No knees. I mean, it has knees, but they're permanently bent, I guess. I actually think that's okay in this case. You wouldn't have gained too much more from having knees. However, there is a lack, like I mentioned, a real lack of articulation at the ankles, and it's pretty severe because they really don't want this to be able to fall over easily when kids are just playing with it normally. So that's about the best you can do to get this into a walking pose. That's not going to work. You can get 1 foot just off the ground, so it's not working out quite right. I feel like if this had more stiffness in the ankle joints, right now they're just kind of loose, and they mostly just turn from side to side like that. But if there was some forward to back mobility there, then you could do a lot more with just this one joint up here, again, without needing knees. But as it is definitely limited, and there's not a lot that you can do in terms of putting this into different action poses. The splaying out is mostly to give it that extra stability. You can rotate the, whoopsie, I think I went just a little bit too far. There we go. You can rotate the ankles in and out a bit, but that doesn't really do a whole lot for you and doesn't really contribute to posing possibilities for it. So no matter what, you know, you're not going to do too much with the legs, unfortunately. And then here's just one last look at it from the back to focus on the details that are there, or the lack thereof. You're seeing a lot of the undersides of plates, a lot of anti-stud surfaces. They try to bring in some of the colors back here with some consistency, so at least it doesn't look messy, or at least it doesn't look any more messy than the front for the most part. I should also point out a simple device that's built into the heels right in the center. They've got that Technic rubber piece, and it actually protrudes beneath the bottom of the plastic buildup of the foot, so that when this is on the ground, it's actually squishing that piece a little bit, and it gives it extra traction. The first figure we're going to look at up close is Princess Iron Fan, and she has her magical staff, or standard, like a banner, that I'm assuming is used for either summoning or control, or possibly both. The main decorated element there is a vinyl piece that just comes on its own little sheet. You just kind of punch it out, and it is gold backed with some red printing over the top of it, and it looks pretty darn good. With that out of the way, though, we get to appreciate some of the details of the main minifigure with some pretty fine detailing with the gold on both the torso and the normal leg length of specialized dress or robe piece. There's no printing on that lower half, unfortunately. That would have really added a lot to the prestige of this figure, I think. But the printing around the back of the torso pretty much matches the detail of what's on the front. Of course, that is a brand new headgear piece. It also has the golden print on it, and she has a new head for this theme. It's actually specific to just this character. So a little bit of jewelry is above her as well, and she does have an alternate face. The Monkie Kid is the title character of the entire series, of course, and we get a good version of him here with his full staff, which has the new part at the end of it, at either end, which is it basically works like a lengthened double-sided lightsaber hilt. It's just a brand new mold. It's interesting, and you'll see that used in other colors in this theme and in other sets in the future. The headphones that are around his neck backwards, that's just a brand new piece that they've included in teal here. But the figure itself, is presented really nicely. It's produced really nicely. The print on the torso is pretty darn good. I wouldn't mind if the white of his undershirt was a little bit whiter, but it's not too bad. The printing for the legs is good on the front, and you have printing around the side as well. And those legs are dual molded, and there's good printing around the back of the torso. He has a new headgear piece that was introduced just for this character. I like the styling of the hair there. It's not too overdone, but it definitely works and definitely stands out for him as well. And underneath here, you will see an alternate face, which really goes well, I think, with the cartoon style that they've chosen for this series for its animated counterpart. So, here, like, that face almost looks like Ninjago Cold to me, but this does look like something special and new. This is Pigsy, or for fans of the original Journey to the West story, this would be Subajie, and that's a new head for 2020, and he's using medium-sized legs, so shorter than normal, but still able to bend, still able to articulate. So that's pretty nice. His choice of accessory there appears to be a meat grinder or some sort of food processing utensil that he has fashioned into a weapon of some sort. It looks like it has the ability to do targeting. I don't know why it has a pitchfork attached to it. A red color for that pitchfork, but it looks like this thing will shoot things out. Like this is the exit. I'm assuming that it would be a projectile weapon. Maybe it's a projectile weapon and a hand-to-hand combat weapon all in one, but it's interesting and it's different. Obviously, there's no alternate face for this guy. On this one, I do think that the white is a little bit lacking. I definitely wish that the white was a little bit more opaque on this one, not just for the hat and the teeth like we see here, but also the underlining that they do, the undercoat that they put, for instance, behind the pink that's applied there as a print. So they put down the lighter color first, effectively as a primer. It's just not quite doing its job here. Amongst the spare parts for this set, we get, of course, a bunch of extra studs for the launchers on the back of the Bull King. I'm very happy to see an extra one of these new headphone pieces in just that same teal color. Unfortunately, they don't have any spares of the new style of lightsaber hilt type of piece. There's just one spare of the old style. And then here's a quick look at the spent sticker sheet so you see just what the sticker load was like for this set. All right, so let's talk about this thing a little bit. It is a 1051 piece set, and as I built it, I definitely got an appreciation for that level of complexity, how many pieces went into it. It definitely helped me to appreciate more where they're coming from with the price. But then again, the price is $90 US. I don't feel as bad about that price, as repulsed by that price now as I did when I was just looking at the pictures of the thing, but I'm still not entirely happy with it. I can tell you that much for sure. I think for its size, it could have been worth $90, but it's lacking in features. It doesn't do much. It's not very posable. Okay, that's a common theme. We've had that issue with many Lego mechs, but then it doesn't have many other features. Like, for instance, these shoulders. I mean, those are large pieces. There are hollow spaces in there. They could have used those to capture some things. You could have some space built into that to use them as little prison cells or something. And there's no action feature over here. Like, it would have been cool to have the ability to rotate the arm remotely, I think, just for its price and for its actual complexity, for how many pieces went into this. A lot of stuff goes into creating the stability. It's fairly solid, which makes it fairly heavy. It's one of the heavier mechs, I think, of its height that Lego has done. They tried to go a little bit skeletal or a little bit hollow with some of the parts on it. Okay, does this count as an action feature? I mean, it's really cool, that's for sure. But, and I realize that adds to the price as well. Adds to the value a bit as well. But I still don't feel comfortable with $90 like this. I think they could have made something that looks like this and that is this size that I would say is worth $90, but this isn't it. To me, I'm not going to give this more than $80 in value. I'd prefer to see it lower than that. If it was $75, I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with $75. So this is a bit out of the range. It's not even real close to the range. I think that it misses its target in terms of value. Only including 3 minifigures for $90 also is a little bit rough. It would have been a better value again if they had included at least just a couple of random foot soldiers, just as cannon fodder. Just folks that you would need to mow through while trying to get to the main bad guy here or bad thing here. The figures that are included are good. Printing could be a little bit better, but it's not bad. And level of detail there is good. A bunch of new parts have been introduced. New parts and or colors have been introduced for this theme or for this year. This build here in particular has a bunch of things in gunmetal gray that I was really happy to see. But overall, I feel like it misses the mark a bit. Also, the head only being able to basically be posed up or almost held up. You can open the mouth. Okay, that's what we expect. But then the fact that it wants to fall down, like it just barely stays up, and then and you can't like turn the head. It's just a little bit lacking, in my opinion. I think it needed more of something. The overall design, I'm good with. Just needed more to be up to what I personally would expect from a relatively high-end toy set from Lego. Those are my thoughts, though. You can check out the pure build for this. You can check out the speed build for it. I've got both of those up on their respective channels, and links are in the video description. You should also get links in the end screen that should be coming up momentarily. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more of my reviews to come. I'll talk to you again soon.